Hello. So today we are going to study about the psychrometry processes. So let us see one by one here. Just 1 second. Okay. So in previous lecture we have already discussed about the psychrometric properties. Also we have discussed about the psychrometric chart. So today we are going to see the psychrometric processes. So basically psychrometric processes are total 8 in number, and if you see this diagram, okay, in this diagram we can show all the 8 processes that are involved in the psychrometry. Okay, so here on the positive x-axis there is a sensible heating process, and on the left side there is a sensible cooling process. So if you see carefully, in sensible heating process, temperature is increasing, dry bulb temperature, okay, that is increasing, and humidity ratio remains constant. And in sensible cooling, that is on negative x-axis, humidity ratio remains same, but the temperature decreases. Why? Because in sensible heating or in sensible cooling, whatever air is available, that air is allowed to pass over heating coils or cooling coils. If that air is allowed to flow on heating coils, then that must be a sensible heating, and if that air is allowed to pass over cooling coils, then it will be sensible cooling process. Okay, so in sensible heating, heat is absorbed, okay, or heat is supplied, and in sensible cooling, heat will be removed. Okay, so on, if you see on the y-axis there is a humidity, or we can say that it is a humidification, and on negative y-axis we can see that is a dehumidification, okay, or it is also called as dehumidify. So if you see carefully here, for the humidification process, the humidity ratio always increases, remember, and for the dehumidification process, humidity ratio decreases at the same temperature. Remember, the temperature remains constant. Okay, that's why it is called humidification process and dehumidification process. So I hope you got this. In humidification, humidity ratio increases, and in dehumidification process, what happens? The humidity ratio decreases. Okay. Now, if you see in the in the first quadrant, there is a process called heating and humidification. So if you see carefully in the heating and humidification, what will happen? Definitely the temperature also increases, and as well as humidity ratio as well also increases. So in heating and humidification, you have to remember temperature of the air as well as humidity ratio, both are increasing. Now if you see the cooling and dehumidification process, in this case both humidity ratio as well as temperature, both are decreasing. Okay, I hope you got it. Now if you see in the second and fourth quadrant, so in second quadrant there is a evaporative cooling process, here it is a heating. In the fourth quadrant there is heating and dehumidification process. So what happens in the heating and dehumidification process, that is in fourth quadrant? So temperature rises but humidity ratio decreases. That's why it is called dehumidification process, heating and dehumidification. In that while writing I have made mistake, so I have written there humidity, but it is not humidity or humidify, it is dehumidification. Okay, so that is heating and dehumidification process. So what is happening here? Temperature increases and humidity ratio decreases. So if you see in the second quadrant, what is happening? The temperature decreases but humidity ratio increases, and that process is called as cooling and dehumidification process. Okay, evaporative cooling is also called as evaporative process is also called as cooling and humidification process. Okay, so I hope you understand all the processes. Okay, by using only this particular chart, we can definitely define all the 8 processes of the psychrometry. Okay, so thank you very much for listening carefully. I hope you understand all the processes here. Okay, if you have any difficulty you can ask me. Thank you very much. Thank you. Just 1 second.